How's it going, everybody? Today I have for you some more Magic. I'm playing a little bit of Mono Blue Tempo. Well, the deck probably looks similar to things that you've seen in the past or very familiar. Honestly, I'm just playing it today because I have daily challenges wanting me to play blue, and I thought you guys might enjoy watching me struggle to play a control deck. Because I'll be totally honest, I don't think much like a control player. Creature control maybe, but this kind of stuff, this sort of deck here is something that's really difficult for me because I don't usually play like mono blue. If anything, I usually play like a Demir deck or something along those lines. So I thought this might be a bit more entertaining for you today, so hopefully you guys like it. I'll go ahead and kind of break down the deck. We've got a lot of bounce spells with things like Into the Flood Maw and Aphira's Dispersal. I'll start with the End of the Flood Maw. It's a 1-drop. You can potentially gift a tapped fish to your opponent. What this card does is return target creature an opponent controls to that owner's hand. If the gift was promised, instead return target non-land permanent to an opponent's hand, or return a non-land permanent that an opponent controls to its owner's hand. So what that means is you can pay 1 to return a creature that your opponent controls, whether it be one that originally belongs to you or them. And if you give them the fish, it doesn't have to be a creature. It can be any non-land permanent. We have Phantom Interference. It is a 1 cost with Spree, so it's always going to actually cost 2 or 4 mana, or it could even potentially cost 5 mana if you're doing both Spree abilities. So it's a 1 cost, and if you paid an additional 3, you can create a 2/2 white spirit creature token with flying. And if you pay the 1 Spree, you can counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. We've got Sleight of Hand, a 1-drop sorcery. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other on the bottom of your library. We've got 3 Steps Ahead, a 1-cost Spree card as well from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. So it is always going to cost potentially a minimum of 3 with 2 blue required if you use it as a counter spell. This deck is mono blue though, so that shouldn't be too much difficulty. For the 1 blue and 1 Spree cost, we've got Counter Target Spell. For the 3 colorless Spree cost, we've got Create a Token that's a copy of target artifact or creature you control. And the 2-cost Spree that does not have a blue specific says to draw 2 cards, then discard a card. So this is a very popular counterspell since OTJ. It's one that I have had a full playset of since then, and it's a fantastic counterspell that I use in any kind of deck that's going to be running that. Though, like I said, usually that's going to be some form of a Demir deck for me instead of mono blue. We've got Curate, a 2-cost Surveil 2 and draw a card. It is instant speed. We've got Moment of Truth, a 2-cost instant speed. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of those cards into your hand, 1 into your graveyard, and 1 to the bottom of your library. We have Negate, a pay 2 counter target non-creature spell, obviously also an instant because it's a counter. We've got the Aphira's Dispersal, which is a 3-cost instant. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets an attacking creature. Return target creature to its owner's hand and surveil 2. This one's actually fantastic because you can just wait to use it as a combat trick to return your opponent's creature that's attacking to their hand for 1. And even if you use it on a non-attacking creature, if you have the Haughty Djinn here out, it'll reduce its mana cost by 1 as well. But this card is fantastic because along with being a bounce spell, it also gives you that Surveil 2. You have opportunities with things like Aphira's Dispersal and Curate, Moment of Truth, to put cards from your deck into your graveyard. And the more instants and sorceries that are in your graveyard, the better it works with things like Haughty Djinn, Tolarian Terror, and Eddymerc Crab, which are your main creatures in this deck. We've got Flow of Knowledge. It is a 5-drop instant. Draw a card for each island you control, then discard 2 cards. So if you play this late game, which you perceivably would since it's such a high mana cost, you can get a bunch of cards in your hand. and you get that discard effect, which again plays really well into the instants and sorceries and graveyard for these three. Tolarian Terror, it is a 7 cost that costs 1 less colorless mana to cast for each instant and sorcery in your graveyard. It is a 5/5 creature and has Ward 2. The Haughty Djinn, because I think I glanced over it, is a 3 cost, 2 blue specific, Djinn creature. It has flying, and its power is equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard, as well as it gives you an instant and sorcery spell reduction cost of 1 colorless. Finally, we've got the Eddymerc Crab. It is a 7 cost 5/5 creature, but it has flash, and it costs 1 less to cast for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. It enters tapped if you flash it in, not on your turn, and when it enters you can tap up to 2 target creatures. So this is a really nice combat trick in this deck that allows you to tap out your opponent's attacking creatures, flash it out, or even just playing it as a base 5/5 creature, since it has that discount, is usually really nice also. We're only running 20 lands in this deck because ideally everything is going to be getting cost reduced in some way or another, because you will have been playing your cheap instants and sorceries, Haughty Djinn making other things cheaper. You know, things along those lines are really ideal to get your Eddymerc Crab, Tolarian Terror cheaper, and all of your instants and sorceries cheaper from Haughty Djinn. I do not have a sideboard in this deck because I'm going to be just playing best of one, and I haven't put too much thought into this deck at all. I'm using, like I said, pretty generic mono blue cards. This is, I think, what you would see most other people playing, essentially. I will still have the deck list down in the description to where you can get it on Moxfield. But that being said, let's go ahead and see if we can get 3 wins with this deck. And hopefully you guys enjoy my struggle of trying to play this deck effectively. Alright, we get to go first. The hand looks fine to me, though some card draw would have been nice. Stop it, buddy. May hear my cat trying to rub on the microphone. Okay. Nothing going on so far, just keep up interaction. He's going to take something either way, so we might as well just counter it. Go ahead and get Haughty Djinn going. Unfortunately, they do have the cut down, but we gotta get stuff going at some point anyway. Burglar Rat. Can't say I'm too terribly bothered. Go sleight of hand here. I really would like to draw some more cards. Get my land back that I lost, and now we have a lot of potential here. Wanted to save up mana for a counter spell in case we needed it in this case. Go for another Haughty Djinn, which they'll just have removal for. Cut down at least won't work now. No big surprise whatsoever. Not even a small surprise. Burglar Rat isn't something that we want to target with any of our bounce spells. It would be pretty pointless. At this point, I don't think it's even worth holding up to keep or in at all. Into the Flood Maw is fine, I guess. I want to play another Haughty Djinn, I just have no way to protect it at the moment. One more land and I'd be able to Haughty Djinn into 3 steps ahead, where they'd at least have to burn 2 kill spells. Yeah, don't care about the rat, you can keep attacking with it as much as you want. Okay, we did get the 1 land, so let's at least get Haughty Djinn out. They'll kill it, but it gives us the opportunity to force them to burn some extra spells. Yeah, not doing that. They may or may not have another kill spell. Didn't look like they had an instant speed one at the very least. Let's go ahead and bounce Mr. Aquilizotz, because we don't want that in our way, and attack. We'll counter it if he tries to play it again. Pretty unfortunate in this case, but we can at least draw some extra cards now. Discard the land, because there's a good chance we'll want to get Aquilizotz back out of the way again. Let's go Curate first. Both are good. Let's go ahead and get Aquilizotz out of the way. Attack for 7. I want both of these. Potentially dead from our opponent here if they don't have a way to kill our Haughty Djinn and play Aquilizotz. That's fine. Pings this for 1. The Terror is going to be a lot more annoying to get rid of, and he doesn't have the means to play Aquilizotz again yet on this turn. Decided to kill his own little rat for some reason. Not that -3/-3 would have done anything to the Terror anyway. And he did get back enough health to where at least if I hit him, it won't kill him. Now he's got to replay it. I don't think we want Moment of Truth. Yeah, maybe we do. Just leave both. We do honestly want most of these cards. If he draws a land, he can just get Aquilizotz out through that, which is troublesome. So I think we got to take the end of the Flood Maw, so that we can try and keep attacking through. Could not have won here by getting that out of the way, so that's why I didn't even bother using the Flood Maw on it. He did get the land, so it was a good decision. We got land, which sucks. We only need one more attack to get through to win. He's got to keep trying with Aquilizotz. And fortunately, our Terror is big enough to just kill Aquilizotz, but he does heal back up to 5. Got plenty of mana to do both on the Phantom Interference now, so it's a pretty big threat. Not likely that he's going to be able to pay 4 to get rid of the Tolarian Terror on top of whatever he plays to try and remove it. Okay, and in this case, he's just not even got a blocker. So he really needs to do something, but I don't think he can. So we actually managed to get a win here, which is pretty nice. So, there's game 1 win. We get to go first, which is pretty nice. Our hand looks fine. Start off with a sleight of hand since it's sorcery speed. I would like a Haughty Djinn, thank you. Siren from our opponent. Get down our second land. Very likely we'll go Moment of Truth on this turn, but we may end up going with a negate depending on what they play. honestly, I don't expect them to play anything. They're probably going to try and put the map token on their Siren. That's not something I can negate, for sure. That is something I can negate, and I don't want you to have a bunch of creatures. So, yeah. Let's go with a Haughty Djinn, just so that we have a decent blocker out on the board, and it's going to discount the rest of our cards going forward. If we get one of our bounce spells, it's a good answer to if he tries to invest a lot into that Warden of the Sky. And the Siren basically is useless by itself for now. Being able to attack with all three of those is kind of pointless in my opinion too. So he may be doing this just to pump his Warden, I guess. Yeah, that's not really an efficient use of that card in my opinion, but you know, you do whatever. Do have an Into the Flood Maw now, which is extremely nice actually. Let's go ahead with Sleight of Hand first since it is sorcery speed. What do I want in my hand? I actually do want the what is this? Dispersal. Then I pass. I'm not in any real hurry with what I've got here. The Warden's the main thing we would like to hit with the Dispersal. We don't want to hit the Recruiter with it ever, because then he'd get the benefit of it being in hand again here. So we do want to avoid that. Not really worried about the Warden because we have so many options, multiple bounce spells for it. If he does for some reason decide to attack with it. That was so silly. Okay. In this case, I'm just gonna Flood Maw it. That way he really gains nothing except having a tapped out board now. And then we'll go Moment of Truth for one, because why not? I would like a 3 steps ahead. We can put Flow of Knowledge in the graveyard, and the land can find somewhere else to be. Totally happy with what I have here. I'm just going to swing in for 6. We got Eddy Mark for 2. The Dispersal could be a 1-drop, and we've got Counter Magic if we want it. Could even make a second Haughty Djinn, probably. Probably could have just countered that, but I think it's fine. Whatever happens here now, as long as we copy the Haughty Djinn with our 3 steps ahead, I think we win. Because now we're going to have 2 7/7s. That just get scarier, and he's at 12 life. Can't block anything with flying at the moment. So, despite how bad I am with this deck, got a pretty easy win here. Yeah. I didn't really know. I guess I could have started with a Curate or something just for the opportunity to pump up these two some more, but 14's more than enough to just kill him, so... Anyway, there's a Game 2 win somehow. One more and I'll be done with this deck. Alright. Opponent gets to go first, which is not ideal. But we've got some okay cards here. being on draw, maybe we'll get some more land going. Since we are on draw, I do need to be careful about keeping things open to interact with my opponent, but I think sleight of hand is still just kind of a must for turn 1. I think I have to go land here. Okay, Curate's not too bad for us, means that he doesn't have anything to really pressure us with yet, at least. Let's go ahead and play another land. We got to keep this Phantom Interference ready. If he does nothing, then at the end of his turn we'll use Moment of Truth. Picklock Prankster, I think it's fine. Do we do... Let's do our own Curate. I can Surveil. Do I want this Eddy Merc? I don't think so. I think I want some counter spells. Low Knowledge is pretty expensive. We got some more land. I'm okay with that, though. Go ahead and pass. Really have to keep this Phantom Interference prepared. Still not interested in bothering with the Prankster. Moment of Truth now. Choose one to put in our hand. I definitely want that 3 steps ahead. Get the land out of here. Go with another land. Pass. We could start doing things like Eddy Merc and Tolarian Terror now, which isn't bad, but we have to keep this counter interaction available at all times against this deck. I'm not worried about the Picklock Pranksters. I'm really worried about whatever he's going to use to get stuff out of his graveyard. Which, if that's a Squirming Emergence, then that's what we've got to be prepared for. Right, comes another Picklock Prankster. There's a good chance that I just go with Eddy Merc here. There is an argument that it would be better to wait to do it until he's trying to attack, but I really think this is just the best option so that I can start getting some aggression going. Another Picklock Prankster doing its thing. Okay, no big deal there. End of turn, I'm going to hit this Flow of Knowledge. Okay, so we did manage to get 3 wins, and this was actually looking really good for us. We had our Haughty Gens, which were going to be amazing, but aside from that, Tolarian Terror was about to be down to at least like a 3 or a 2 cost. The Haughty Gen was going to be discounting all of our stuff. We had a 3 steps ahead and a Phantom Interference to just make sure and keep him off of any Reanimator targets. So that was actually probably the best match in my opinion out of the 3. But I'll go ahead and end it off here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching me suffer through playing a mono blue deck, and maybe you like the deck. If you do, you can find the link to my Mox field in the description where you can copy the deck. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.